Monica, Grayley, you may approach the bench, as they say in court.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are well today. We have some important meetings for you to cover. I'm going to start with the meeting an event that's taking place today ahead of a high-level meeting tomorrow. The President of the General Assembly is taking part today in an interactive discussion on building trust and the importance of multilateralism, making the UN relevant to all people. The event is being co-organized with the International Institute for Peace, IPI, and is happening in advance of the high-level meeting on multilateralism and diplomacy for peace, which will take place at the GA Hall tomorrow. Member states and high-level participants will discuss global challenges and renew commitments to strengthening the multilateral system. The one-day high-level plenary meeting to commemorate and promote the International Day of Multilateralism and Diplomacy for Peace takes place in accordance with GA Resolution 73/127. Since taking office, the PJ has highlighted multilateralism as the best way to solve challenges such as climate change, terrorism, epidemics, and other issues. Mr. Espinosa believes that strengthening multilateralism means strengthening peace. The interactive discussion today will start at 1:15 p.m. and will be webcast live on UN Web TV. Mr. Espinosa will deliver opening remarks, and the moderator will be Mr. Kevin Rudd, the former Prime Minister of Australia. A date for your diaries. On 29 April next week, the PJ will convene an interactive meeting with the World Health Organization on universal health coverage. The multi-stakeholder hearing is part of the preparatory process for the GA high-level meeting on universal health coverage, which will take place on 23rd September here at the UN. 23rd September is the right date. The theme will be universal health coverage, moving together to build a healthier world. The one-day event on 29 April will be held at the J Hall and focus on how investing in health system for universal health coverage drives progress across several SDGs. Participants will be member states and representatives of local governments, UN entities, NGOs, academia, civil society, private sector, medical associations, among others, and more information on our website. Today, the President received, or actually met with the head of the International Impartial Independent Mechanism Investigating Serious Crimes in Syria, Ms. Catherine Marchi-Urel. Ms. Espinosa also chaired the debate on prevention of armed conflict in the J Hall. As you know, at 1:15 p.m., she will be taking part in the interactive forum. And this afternoon, she will visit the UN Library on World Book Day and will grant a video conference lecture with Western Kentucky University this evening. This is all from us. Do you have any questions? Okay, Masoud, go ahead.
Who did she meet in Syria?
It's a meeting at, she actually met this morning at the head of the International Impartial Independent Mechanism.
The question arises, does she have anything to say about Syria, the situation which is at any point in, it is still continuing the crisis.
Sure.
So what does she have to say about that?
Absolutely. Ms. Marchi-Urel and the PJ had a bilateral meeting before the event. She came for the event, the debate actually, on prevention of armed conflict, and there will be a readout of this bilateral meeting on our website this afternoon. And by the way, yesterday I was asked about the PGA here at the UN and the support that she receives from Ecuador. I would like to say that the states where the PGA comes from has the responsibility to provide for accommodation and salary. The PGA is also appointed by the head of state as the head of her country's delegation to the 73rd session of the United Nations General Assembly. And this is all from us, okay? I see you. Carla, go ahead.
Thank you, Monica. This is actually a follow-up of my question to Stefan earlier. The PGA has focused upon the dangers of growing economic inequality. Will she be holding any event to discuss the causes and the dangers as a consequence of this inequality, which is really of scandalous proportions now?
I think inequality has been in the PGA's agenda, and or it's one of her top priorities in actually across all 7 priorities that she has. And the specific question of peace and security, and also young people, youth peace and security, she before has expressed the concern that we need to have as member states, but also as international actors, local actors, national actors in providing decent work for young people. To basically, this can be for some analysts a very simple equation, but it's a true equation, truthful equation, that young people who are involved and included in the society, they are least taken or influenced by radicalism. This is one of her priorities, but not only this specific priority. If you go to gender equality, if you go to decent work, if you go to migration and refugees, you will see the elements of inequality there. And she has been including this in several of her speeches, because it's actually a concern that she has, and coming from Latin America, which is, as we know from our own UNDP and other reports, a region that is also marked by inequality. And as member states collectively, we need to challenge this and, promote a solution. Yes, I have my colleague here, and then afterwards you, Sato. Go ahead, please.
You talked about multilateralism. What's PGA position regarding United States unilateral decision against Iran oil exports, which its Foreign Minister Zarif described it as economic terrorism?
By the way, the PGA is actually against all forms of unilateral economic, commercial, financial, actually, sanctions, and other measures that contravene the norms of international law, contradicts purposes and principles of the Charter of the United Nations. So she believes that these measures, or unilateral economic measures, they restrict free, they restrict open business across borders, and she firmly believes that any dispute can be resolved through dialogue and negotiation. Yeah, Sato, go ahead.
My question is also about the multilateralism. So, like you said, that tomorrow the PGA will preside a high-level meeting about multilateralism, and if my understanding is correct, tomorrow will be the first International Day for Multilateralism adopted by the GA last year. Mm-hmm. I might miss the moment of the adoption. So, can you tell us, is there any background why now? Such the International Day for Multilateralism was adopted at GA. Thank you.
No, thank you. You are spot on. This meeting is actually happening in accordance of the resolution 73 127/127 that decided upon celebrating, establishing the International Day, and also the high-level meeting. You are aware that during this, the opening of the current session, multilateralism was a theme across the board. Basically, most of statements that were delivered at the General Assembly touched upon the need, the importance, the urgency of strengthening multilateralism. And for the sake of humanity, for cooperation, for solving our challenges globally, collectively. And this is this meeting that is taking part tomorrow is precisely because of that. So you are spot on. What we are also flagged in the beginning of this briefing today is that an interactive dialogue is happening in cooperation with the International Peace Institution here, institutes actually, IPI, in order to not prepare, but advance for the meeting tomorrow. And this will be webcast, so you can follow it on the internet. And I can also say, perhaps I am advancing too much here, but there will be also a video on what young people think of multilateralism and how that should be strengthened. Why it is so important that international actors, member states get together and cooperate in order to solve our challenges nowadays. So if this is all from you, I will see you tomorrow, and I'll thank you for being here today. I see you tomorrow at the same time. Thanks. Bye.